Hey, thanks for joining Broadfield Liquid Lunch every Thursday at 1 p.m. For those of you watching us live, I do realize we're a little bit late today. One of the things you need to prepare for when you do any live broadcast is the event that something could go wrong. When you're doing a live broadcast with remote guests, you're now asking your production system to do even more of the heavy lifting. And with everyone working remotely, and thrusted into a remote working environment over the last couple of weeks, not everybody is prepared exactly as they should. This is why it's important for you to test and work with your customers and help set them up for success, even in times when they need to get their message across. I have Glenn joining me on the show this week, and we are talking about some of the different options and capabilities for how you can bring your guests in live. Hey, Glenn, welcome.
Hey, Jim, welcome again.
So one of the things that we do on a weekly basis, when we have guests brought into the Broadfield studio, we use NewTek's Skype TX technology. Skype TX is a great way to bring guests into your show from anywhere. What used to be live via satellite is now live via streaming. Glenn, can you tell us a little bit about the TC1 and the Skype TX capability?
Yeah, so Skype TX, really what it comes down to is Skype TX is designed as a way to bring a Skype chat in as baseband video normally. So it's a Skype chat into typically an HDSDI output. But folks at NewTek has integrated Skype TX into the TC1. It's two channels of Skype TX in the TC1, but it's also available in the new TC Mini 4K and the 410 Plus. But basically what that allows you to do is, for instance, with the TC1, which is what you folks use in the studio, you can bring two guests in over Skype. They are coming in natively into the TriCaster, so you've got hardware codecs that handle the compression. The quality is going to be much better. The user experience from the guest calling in, they don't know. They're just getting a Skype call. But what you've got is you've got the ability to kind of have what's a waiting room, so you can kind of queue up the callers. They actually have a Skype talkback channel, which allows them to kind of hear the mix coming out of the TriCaster rather than just hearing one side of the conversation. So it's that tightly integrated way of doing things that it works with. And that's, again, built into the Skype, the TC1. So you've got two channels there. There is also products out there from NewTek, again, called Talk Show.
So, Glenn, before we go into the talk show, let's review exactly what's included in the TriCaster family, because there is the TriCaster Mini 4K NDI, which is the first TriCaster Mini model to have that Skype TX channel integrated into it.
And that is awesome. I mean, for a product at that level to be able to bring in, one channel of Skype TX is phenomenal. And that just means, all that means is, you've only got one guest at a time brought in. You can have multiple people come in, but you've only got one live channel at a time within the product.
Yep. And then the TC410 Plus has that same capability. And then the TriCaster TC1, which is what we use in our studio, actually has two channels of Skype TX.
Correct.
And that Skype TX workflow is in those TriCaster models, but it's the same workflow in the Torch Show units as well, which the Torch Show, for those who aren't familiar with the Torch Show family of products, those are dedicated Skype TX servers that can be used with any live production system.
Correct. So that's the hardware end of it, where you've got up to, the Talk Show. You've either got one channel or four channels, depending on the Talk Show you go with. So the 400's got four channels. The beauty of that is that's either going to come out as an NDI stream or it's going to come out as an HDSDI stream. So if you're in a NewTek environment, you've already got a TC1, you've got two channels already. You add a Talk Show 400 to it. You've now got an additional four channels. So you've got a total of six channels of Skype TX coming into your system. If you're working with somebody else that does not have NDI integration, you can take those out as HDSDI feeds.
And it's great too, because on this next slide, we have a nice little workflow diagram that shows you how that Torch Show can be integrated. So Adam, let's just jump ahead to that workflow diagram on the next one. There we go. So this shows you how that Torch Show really can be integrated to bring in your remote guests. And now if we jump ahead, Glenn, to reiterate what you were saying, there are two models in the Torch Show. There's the Torch Show 100, which is $39.95, and the Torch Show 4000 at $79.95. And that Torch Show 4000 is the one that has those 4 Skype TX channels integrated into it, giving you really the ultimate enterprise solution to bring remote guests in.
Yeah, I always want to call that the 400.
You and everybody else. That's why I have to clarify and say it's a 4000 because it's 1,000 times better.
4,000 times better. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the way we bring a guest in when we are live in the Broadfield studio. As soon as the COVID-19 hit, we didn't have the luxury of producing our show in the studio. Glenn is down in Texas. I'm here on Long Island, and Adam is actually producing the show out of his home. Before we closed down the Broadfield studio, Adam actually grabbed a Telestream Wirecast Gear 420 to bring home to set up so we could continue using these live shows. So what I want to talk about now is the Wirecast Rendezvous feature, which is how we're able to bring in remote guests into a Wirecast workflow and produce the show that we're doing today. Rendezvous basically allows Adam to send Glenn and I a web-based link that allows us to open up a portal within our browser that allows our webcams to dial directly into the Wirecast Gear system. Glenn, if you could walk us through that Rendezvous workflow that we have set up on that next slide, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, so unfortunately I can't read the slide. But basically, the nice thing about Rendezvous is, as Jim said, it's using basically what's called WebRTC, which allows real-time streaming, real-time communications between a web browser. The end user just basically gets a URL, they click on it. It's easier than using Zoom or anything else like that. Wirecast does have integration with Zoom, but what I'm pointing to is it's much easier. You click on it, you put in your name, you're now brought into Wirecast. It becomes just another feed into the Wirecast UI. So like you've got laid out here, you've got basic picture-in-picture with you and I both in those. Those are both coming in through Rendezvous, just brought in as a pure web stream. So again, it's nothing that the talent has to think about. They don't have to go through any special configurations.
Right. And I got to tell you, Glenn, one of the things I'm disappointed about is one of the reasons we do this webinar every week is to use the technology that we sell. And what I didn't do before I stopped going into the office was grab our Live View Solo. There actually is a workflow where if I had the Live View Solo here at the house, I could actually be transmitting my signal, as we're showing on the next slide here, from my Live View Solo into an RTMP mini server directly to the Wirecast Gear. Now, that would have been a significant upgrade over using the webcam that I'm coming at you now.
Right.
But again, you have to have the technology to do so. For our sellers who are selling this technology into these enterprise sources, your larger houses of worship, education, to set them up with a Live View Solo with cellular bonding gives them a very affordable, reliable connection to stream into an RTMP server directly into the Wirecast Gearbox. Glenn, have you had any experience with this workflow?
Yeah, and you've seen it on both ends. That the one thing that people are realizing, and we had this with our first show or second show we were trying to do remotely, is everybody's suddenly working from home. You don't realize what your network bandwidth is, what your cellular what your internet provider is doing for you until you've kind of started doing these things. And the thing that the Live View brings to you is that reliable connection. We're not only seeing it as bringing in remote guests, but even in your diagram, you have it on the output side. You may have small churches that don't have internet. I mean, the internet was fine for doing emails and things like that. Now they're suddenly send out video and they just don't have that infrastructure, or they can't get that infrastructure. And it's a great solution there as well. So produce your show and then stream it live using the live view, on the other end.
Absolutely. And the only thing I'm pointing out on this next slide here is how the Wirecast Gear or any other rack mountable system can really be built into a somewhat portable solution that can be carried anywhere it needs to be carried. Jeremy Klusterman at Wirecast actually put this road kit together with his Wirecast Gear using a live view solo to do exactly what you were talking about, Glenn, and being able to use a full production stream from absolutely anywhere that he happens to be.
Yeah, what he's actually doing is exactly what you're talking about. He's got his pastor who's in his, in his house, sending over a live view solo, sending a video signal over to Jeremy. Jeremy is taking that in through the 210, the server there, bringing it in as a signal, and then mixing it into it. So he's got his pastor out working remotely in an environment that he does not have internet access.
Absolutely. And for our dealers who are interested in learning more and offering your customers this kit, I'd be happy to send you the spec sheet that Jeremy has put together, and you can offer your customers this full solution as well. Now I want to get to really the hot topic that everyone is talking about with remote guests, and that's using Zoom. Zoom has turned into the darling of the remote at-home industry. At least it was last week before the security issues. But obviously there's a lot of people out there, even with the security, they're using passwords, they're using Zoom conference rooms in order to keep in touch with their audience. And I'm sure our dealers are being asked, how can we improve our Zoom workflow? If we go into the Wirecast workflow with Zoom, there are two different ways that Wirecast can benefit with the workflow. This first one is talking about using Wirecast to produce your show and then streaming that output into a Zoom conference room. This would be a great solution in a corporate environment where you want to have multiple cameras creating interesting content to be able to communicate to the rest of your guests on a Zoom call. The next slide, however, is, Glenn, something I really want to have you talk about, and that's using Zoom as an input into Wirecast because of everyone working remotely as they are today, and exactly how this can benefit. I'm sure you've had dealers reach out and ask you about this. What are some of the questions you're hearing? What's some of the feedback we could give our dealers to make this workflow successful for them?
Yeah, so there's some great resources. There's a great video that is online that talks about how to integrate Zoom into Wirecast, and that's one of the biggest things is, now everybody is remote. I've actually got a demo that I'm working on later today with the Telestream folks showing, exactly that, the integration within Zoom, within Wirecast for Zoom. So it's the ability to bring the folks in and actually change cameras, bring them directly into the meeting, and that's a really nice, smooth workflow within inside of Wirecast.
Glenn, you mentioned a demo. One of the reasons we do our webinar is to show that we drink the Kool-Aid and make this technology work. Because of that, what I've done is actually put together a Zoom conference with the entire Broadfield sales team that we're going to bring into the Wirecast now. Adam, let's make that happen.
And there, now you can see them. And so, yeah, if everybody could just wave really quick, hopefully everyone's coming in really cool. And again, that's just using Zoom. All right, so let's start introducing people. One moment.
So just as proof, there's Adam in his living room doing that.
Yeah, here I am in my wonderful living room.
Producing the show and bringing our guests in. If you can hear me over Zoom,
All right. So first things first, let's start introducing everybody. Maddie, if you could say who you are and what
Sure.
you do.
Hi, it's Maddie, and I'm in the New York Broadfield, and I'm the National Sales Coordinator here in New York, and I do research, lead generation. I help dealers onboard in their process and give them access to their
is
accounts.
Maddie muted?
All right, Peter, Peter?
Hi, this is Peter Snyder. I'm working from home at in Woodside, New York. I handle video production, so video production sales specialist is my title. Cinema, anything with video production. Coming over from Red, that's kind of my background. That's
And
it.
John?
Yeah, I'm John Oransky. I am from home in Setauket, New York. I'm a sales specialist.
All right, and Jared?
Yeah, this is Jared Engler. I'm the storage specialist here at Broadfield. I work out of Stamford, Connecticut. Handle the C, G-Tech, Glyph, et cetera, et cetera.
Brenda?
Hi, I'm Brenda. I am based out of my home in the West Coast region, and I help manage the accounts in the region, in the West Coast region.
Dan?
Dan Batan. I'm in the office here in Mineola. I'm the VP of Purchasing and Sales. A lot of you probably already know me. One of the owners of the company.
And last but not least, Rich.
I'm Rich Batan, SVP of Sales, working out of corporate HQ right here in Mineola. Hope everyone is staying safe during these trying times. But as you can see, our team is out here from either their houses or the office to try to help you get those important products you need. So stay safe, wash your hands.
All right, and that is everyone. So Jim, if you're all set, I'll throw it right back to you.
Adam, thank you so much. Hey, look, we didn't tell you it was going to be a good-looking crew, but nonetheless, there is the crew. Glenn, we didn't have you on the Zoom call because you're here with me via the Rendezvous.
Yep. Oh, I know.
But I thought it was great to show off that technology, and I want to recap a lot of these different workflows that Telestream Wirecast software really makes available. So we have the entire Broadfield sales team available to help answer any questions. Okay, and we saw them there on the Zoom call. If we go through those Wirecast workflows and some of the different solutions they have, we talked about how you could use Wirecast to bring a rendezvous call directly into the Wirecast gear. We talked about how you could bring a live view solo via the RTMP mini server, how you could use Wirecast to produce a show to output into Zoom, and how you could use a Zoom conference as a video input source into Wirecast. So this is all possible with the live production systems we offer and that are available here at Broadfield Distributed. Obviously, if you need help in any of these workflows, any of these solutions, give your Broadfield sales rep a call at 800-634-5178. If your customers have specific applications that start getting a little bit more involved, that's why I invited Glenn to be my guest today. He is our workflow sales specialist, and he can help walk you through that workflow and find the right products for them. We are committed, even during this pandemic, to coming at you live every Thursday at 1 p.m., unless our system crashes and we have to be 10 minutes later, to talk about next week, Panasonic Pro PTZ cameras and NAB show or not. There are still going to be a lot of new products announced, specials to talk about, and other interesting information. So we will be doing an NAB show roundup. Join us every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, and cheers.